Okay, thank you. Hallelujah. All right. Please again, remember what I said. Straight to the point.
Thank you, sir.
Just ask your question. I will still allow people to join the one. Let's start with the sister over there, please. Yeah.
Sir. My question is for a friend. She once posted on the group that, is it okay for her mother-in-law to come stay with them permanently?
Is it okay for the mother-in-law to come and stay permanently?
No, I don't think so. I don't think, can you hear me?
Pastors might place sound.
Okay, I don't think that it's okay for her to come and stay permanently, because the Bible says that you should leave father and mother and cleave. So God expects that a new family will start from you. I understand visiting, coming and going, but if she doesn't have a place to stay, then they should work together as a family and set her up on her own. But having her, you can't have two women in the house as heads of the, because one is a mother, one is a wife. There will be challenges, and they are unnecessary challenges. Do you understand? So I don't think she should stay permanently. Should she have access to visit her children, her grandchildren? Yes, she should. But this is all based on agreements that they have. Both of them must agree, okay, on what they want. If she's not for it, then her husband shouldn't. But permanently, no, I don't think so.
Yes, and situations like that, it's not really about the mother-in-law. It's about the fact that both of them are not close. They are not on the same page, husband and wife. Because he can't make that decision on his own. So it means they are not communicating, they are not friends, they are not working together as a team. So this is just a symptom. The mother-in-law is a symptom. He will make other decisions like this without considering his wife. So they even need to understand what marriage is. That is a partnership and a union. It's not just you making the decision you like. All right.
Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Next person. You can put us together. Thank you.
My question is as regards what Pastor Key said when he was talking about men that are 35 getting married.
Don't worry about it.
As a man, people say that if you marry early, you don't know what you want till you are 30. So what, is changing tastes for men? And when you are 20, you like a particular kind of woman or man, a particular kind of woman. Now, when you begin to grow, changing tastes for men, how do we address that?
All right. Good question. The key is that it's more about maturity than your age. My wife is the first person and the only person I ever dated. Yes, I don't have exes. So you don't have to kiss many frogs before you find your Prince Charming. Many people use dating to try your luck. That's not what dating is. Normally, you shouldn't even be available for a relationship. You should be available for marriage. It's from the time you agree to marry and when you marry is what the relationship is. Relationship is not a destination by itself. That's the mistake many people are making. So they're just dating, check themselves out for 6 months, 1 year, go to another person. No. Take time to invest in yourself. Find out what it takes for you to be a responsible man. I mentioned today vision. The reason why it was easy for me to know who I was marrying, I knew where I was going. I knew I was going to do ministry. That automatically streamlined the kind of ladies I can be interested in. Do you understand? So there are things you need to find. Finding your purpose, finding your vision, finding God. God can speak to your life. Finding yourself. Who are you? What are the things you like? So the reason why some people at 30 can't even still find who they want is that they've not found themselves. They've not found God. They've not found purpose. When you find purpose, it streamlines. I met a lot of fine girls. Not many of them could qualify. I knew what I was looking for. I was looking for someone that would do ministry with me, a partner. So it's not really about your age. If you invest enough in yourself. So how much books have you read? How much knowledge do you have about marriage? If you invest enough in yourself, you find out that somewhere in your mid-20s at least, you should be in an area where you can make a solid decision. All right? If you have invested enough. But you see, it's not really about time. Somebody at 35 has not invested enough spiritually in his life, for instance. So he can't even hear God. He needs somebody, a prophet, to hear for him. If this is my wife. So you see, there's already a problem. So it's not really about age. It's about maturity. If you invest in yourself enough, you can make it happen faster. And
if I may just add to that, I always advise men, marry for where you are going, not for where you are today. Okay? If you have a picture of the future you want, then marry up. Marry into that future. Marry a woman that will inspire you. Usually, what makes men say, oh, their taste changes is because you are looking at the girls around you now. But they are not the ones that will cross over to the future. So you need a woman who will fit into your future.
Wow. Hallelujah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, sir.
Sir, what about in a situation whereby the lady is the one who knows her purpose? She already discovered her purpose already. She knows it. So what kind of man should she go for? For instance, maybe she's called into the, not business, but into ministry. And
Yes.
what kind of man should she be looking out for? Can she settle down with just any our brother in the church who is also Jim brothers and all that? So what kind of
You can also project, please, now.
All right, so that's a very good question. Most times when we say things and just talk about men, it's also both ways. It's also affecting women. We just don't want to describe the whole thing. So as a woman, definitely you can't also marry just any man you see. All right, so amongst the men coming, you must pick one that can fit into your own purpose also. All right, and for you now, you use ministry as an instance. It can be anything, can be business, can be career. You can have a big vision career-wise. Don't look for a man that is insecure. Make sure he's a man that has room. His own vision is large enough to also accommodate your vision. Don't look for a man that will let you fly. Look for a man that will help you fly. You see, there's a difference. Some men will not allow you fly. That's not the question. Some men will let you fly, but they won't add much to your life. They say, okay, be going, But some other men will understand that their job is to cultivate you. So they will constantly be looking for how to help you be better in what you are called to do. So that's the kind of man you need.
And let me just say that it doesn't necessarily have to be a pastor, because sometimes that's what the mistake people make. Look at other women of God like Joyce Meyer, Pastor Nkechi, and there are some people who are doing great things for God, and their husband is not a pastor. It just has to be a man who is secure in himself, a man whose vision, like Pastor K said, is large enough to accommodate yours. When I met Pastor K, I knew I was called to ministry, but I was very shy, very reserved, and content not to push myself. But he kept seeing something and he kept pushing and kept pushing. First time I ever preached in church, we were just, after first service, he just said, you're preaching second service. I said, no, second service. He said, you're preaching service. I thought he was joking. He went outside and was gisting. So they came to meet me and said they should call me up. And they called me up. For like 2 minutes, I first worship well. Because, and that's exactly what happened. So from that time on, I now learned to live ready, because this man can do this to me again. So that's how I started cultivating myself. And today, now I have the privilege to preach with him when he goes to places. So it doesn't always have to be that he's a pastor, but it must be a man who can cultivate you.
You will notice he's always interested in making you better, not being intimidated when you are rising. You know, there's some men that can't stand their wives earning more than them, that can't stand their wife being promoted. Watch out for those signs. The man must not just allow you fly, he must be ready to help you fly. He's interested in you being the best version of yourself. So look out for that. All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. I wanted to ask, what if you have that godly man, the one who's got everything like Pastor Mildred, explained, especially one who loves the Lord, but you are in a relationship with this person, and for like 21 years, if I may say in quotes, this person is not coming out. It's okay. Today, this one we are fixing the marriage. But people know that both of you have been in a relationship and he likes you. So he has already marked his territory. So what do you do with such an individual, especially in the church?
Yes. So, Pastor, I want to stand up to answer this one. So, ladies, please, I've begged you. Let me beg you again. Please, don't enter indefinite relationships. Men don't have a great relationship with timing. Men have financial clock. Women have biological clock. I have a book here titled 7 Questions Wise Women Ask. As a woman, one of the questions you must ask a man that say, I want to go out. Define relationships. Don't let a man say, hey, you see, I want to see how it goes, how we can closely be friends and tight and look at how possibly a future can arise maybe in the... What's that? And the girl will say, yes. Yes to what? As a lady, once you are even above 22, 23, you are not available for dating. What you are available for is marriage. Now, when the person comes and makes their intention known, the dating is just a period from when we agree to marry and when we eventually marry. So don't just if somebody comes and says, I want to date you, and they date you for 7 years, and they say, thank you very much, I have dated you, and now you are dated. Have they lied? It's not date. They say they came to date you. Haven't they dated you? So he has not broken any promise. He says he's dating you, and he has dated you now for 5 years. He says, thank you very much. The dating was sweet. That's what women don't know. Most of you are agreeing to things that won't favor you. And it's not the man's fault. He has financial clock. Most men will never think they are ready. Because they have men always have projects and dreams. So they think there's a time will come that they will finish all their dreams. No, even ask Pastor Shola, he still has dreams. Yes, imagine if he was waiting to fulfill all his dreams before he married. Our dreams never finish. So as a woman, it's you that we make him understand. You have biological time. A man can have children at 70. I have an uncle that is this high. It's my uncle. Because my grandfather also married somebody when he was 70. His wife died. He's still remarried. Men can have children at any age. But you as a woman, a guy is dating you, he definitely. And you are following him. 7 questions one may ask. One of the questions you must ask as a woman, I want to marry you. Say when? Because the time might not work for you. If I want to marry you 10 years from now, is that okay with you? It's not okay with me. But you see, he doesn't mind. He can marry you when he's 50. He can marry you at 45. He still favors him. He can start having children at that age. You cannot. I guess what I'm saying. When I proposed to my wife, I proposed with date. My proposal was, how does August sound in your spirit? It was not romantic, but it was practical. And by the August, that was in February. By the August of that year, we had done traditional wedding. So I don't see how people are proposing today. You people are focused on the picture and the paparazzi. Woo, woo, woo. You point the ring. Woo, woo, woo. And 10 years after, we're still showing that ring. No marriage. 10 years after. Pastor Shola, I had a friend, and this is not that they told me the story. Somebody I know personally. He dated somebody for 10 years.
Wow.
And did not marry the person. How many years did I say?
Oh, God.
10. And did not marry the person. And when the lady got tired and left and went to marry another person, he dated another woman for under 10 years. Yes. It's not story that I heard. It's people, I know all the people I'm mentioning. All the 2 ladies and everything. I know them personally, not that from far. I know them like this. 10 years, 2 tenor. Is somebody getting what I'm saying?
Wow.
Women, you have biological clock. Men have financial clock. Most men will never feel they are ready. It's you that will say, look, what do you want? I want to date you. So I'm not available for dating. I'm 27 years old. I'm available for marriage. I'm looking for who wants to marry. When you are ready to marry, come back. If I'm still available, we'll talk. He said, but pastor, if I say what I want, don't I look desperate? This your own plan is also still desperate. This your own plan of pretending you don't know what you want. Meanwhile, secretly in your mind, you're praying every day, oh God, let him say something. What did you agree to? Don't agree. Men are always saying what they want. I want to date you. Is that what you want as a woman? If that's not what you want, make your own. It's negotiation. Say, I want to marry in the next 2 years. Is that work for you? No, okay, go when you are ready, come. Don't date indefinitely. So, one of the questions you must ask is when. Let it be settled. If you're marrying in a year or in 2 years, your body language from now will make us know you're ready for 1 year marriage. You start putting things in place. You come to church for marriage counseling. Let's go and talk to my pastor. Let's go. Don't let somebody date you in secret or in isolation. He can keep you there permanently. 7 years. Men and let me tell you, most times, when they're dating you indefinitely like this, they're enjoying all the wife benefits. That's why. Can you imagine? What's your best food, sir? Pandediam and what? Eforero. Egusi. So, picture, what's your name? Bolua. So, imagine that you are single and or you put your best food, pandediam and egusi. Picture, you prepare it and you say you want to eat it in 1 year's time. As in, the food is prepared. You want to eat it in 1 year's time. Every day you're looking at it. That's what young people are doing. You meet a very fine girl, fine boy, you want to marry, and it's a definite relationship. Before you know it, you will taste the soup. Some of you, they've almost finished the soup, they've not paid. You have licked the soup round, they've not paid. It's difficult to keep looking at something you like and not eat it when it's there in your front. It's difficult. So this is what we are doing around. Don't let anybody date you indefinitely. Fix the time. If it's 6 months, 9 months, let's start counseling. Let's start something. And you move from there. Don't just sit down. So go and renegotiate and say, what are your plans? Give me. Don't wait for him to. You are already in a relationship. You agree to something. Don't wait for him to be. Many girls are at the mercy of a man. But you're in a relationship. He's tying you down. You are driving other suitors. Then you're waiting for him to be ready. No. Fixed date. What's your plan? When are you when? And get counselors involved. Don't date in secret. You have leaders in church. You have pastors in church. Wherever church you belong to. If a man wants to date you, bring him to pastor. Hey, in a big church, let me tell you something. In a big church like this, some guys can have 3 ladies they've promised marriage. Don't tell anybody. So having structures in church where you don't start a relationship except somebody leadership knows, it helps.
Yes.
Because the same guy can't bring 3 girls. They will say, "Oga, why not the one that came last week?" There are 3 services in this church. He will have babe in each service. So you set it in clear and settle it.
Let me just add to that.
Yes.
Those kind of guys are people that we call human delay. You know them. They no go fail. They no go pass. They no come out for class. They will just block your road. Other fine boys that could have married you since, they've seen that they've marked territory, and you are not territory. You are a human being. You are not an inanimate object. It's only dogs that mark territory. So that in itself is already telling me the kind of guy he is. So for your own good, go and have that conversation and negotiate. You say you want to marry me when? He must give you a when. That's what makes it courtship. Right now, you're not in courtship. You are just dating. You're not in courtship. The minute he tells you this is when I want to marry, from that point he has told you to the point you get married, that's courtship. So go and have that conversation. Don't let anybody block your destiny. If he's not going, you should go. There are other people.
Wow. I'm going to ask just one question later, Sam, about divorce and remarriage. That one I will sit down. They'll probably record that one special. Now I want to please, next person. You are not projecting any of the written questions. Media, what's going to? I say just put it up. I will take the ones we should take. Very briefly, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. So my question is this: that everyone knows what they want. So what about having a scenario where you already have a list of what you want in a person, like your ideal man or woman? Not like a spec. It's different from a spec, but like you know where you're going. Like you know what you want in a person. So even if maybe you're just missing for the person for the first time, you're already like, okay, yes, this is not the person I want or thereabout or that or kind of thing. But like you've asked people around and they're telling you that, okay, fine, this thing is not practical. Maybe for you as a Christian, no. And other people are still telling you that it is possible that if you ask God what you want, but for you to get everything. So is it normal for you to chase other suitors away because of that reason and still like hold on, keep on believing that yes, that person is coming?
All right. When the Bible says things like delight yourself in the Lord and He will give you desires of your heart, it doesn't just mean that you can dream anything, that I want a man that has 2 heads. That's not what they are talking about. When you really delight in the Lord, it means you are yielded and submitted to God. So your desires are purified. They are in line with God's will for you. They are in line with God's word. So you need to prayerfully look at that list. I don't know what is there, but for instance, if you're saying you want a man that is tall, that has no bearing in the marriage. The height of a man. Have you seen any marriage that is working for 20 years? So what's the secret? Say, it's the height of this man. Hey, that's why we are here. It's not so. You see, so sometimes I don't know what's on your list. If it's the real things that should be on the list, I have a book here titled "Who Should I Marry?" The real things that should be. There are 10 C's I mentioned there. There are some real stuff that can be negotiated. For instance, Christ. The person must be a Christian. That's a solid thing that should be on your list. Interestingly, Pastor, on many people's list, it's not important though. They can marry an unbeliever if he's nice, if he's tall. Yes, so Christ is one. Number 2, character. What's their behavior like? That one can be negotiated. If it's somebody that's a fraudster, if it's a 419 guy, if it's a guy that we don't know his work, he's lazy, or he's rude, he's harsh, he's abusive, what's his character? He might be a Christian though, but his character is not yet Christ-like or godly. He doesn't qualify. Do you understand? So that's solid. Number 3, things like companionship. Can we talk? Is even my friend? If we're not having sex, if we're not touching ourselves, can I enjoy just talking to this person? Do we vibe together? So there are some major things that should be on the list. But I can tell you from experience, many women particularly have things that should be flexible. They have it as rigid. So they miss a lot of people. For instance, I'll give you a simple one. Some people say, oh, I can't marry somebody that's not a graduate. That's not really true. What you mean is that you can't marry somebody that is not on the same intellectual level with you. So what you want is intellectual compatibility, not paper. If it's paper you want, they can print paper for you. But there are people that are graduates you can't stand. You can't have a conversation with them. They can't even speak a word of English. So what you want is intellectual compatibility. When I married my wife, she had master's degree. I had OND. You know OND? O means ordinary. N is national. That national is Nigeria. Somebody get what I'm saying? But I don't need to tell you that I'm smart. You understand? We've never had an issue with that. But she had a master's degree. See the gap. But many women say, I can't marry. That means you can't marry Bill Gates, so you can't marry Mark Zuckerberg, you can't marry Michael Dell, you can't marry all these great people that have changed the world because they are not graduates, at least at the time they started. So you need to be clear what exactly you want. We usually call it clarity sessions. Many women, they think I want tall. What does tall have to do? If you have a short guy that is faithful, it's more important than a tall guy that is unfaithful. Do you get what I'm saying? So the character is more important. So I don't know what's on your list. Some things on the list should be rigid. Some should be flexible. That I would like tall, but if he's not tall and he still has all these other things, he's godly, he's a good Christian, he loves me. If he still has all those things, I'll manage his height where he is. You see, you're already in your face. You want tall. See, the average woman wants tall. You don't even know why you want tall. You were programmed to want tall.
Yes.
I don't have time to go into that today. That's why you can't trust your emotions. Many of you are following your emotions. Your emotions are based on what you have programmed. For instance, if all of you are Nigerians, if I do like this to a white man, he will do like this back to me. He will say hi. He will think I'm greeting him. The reason why this is not bringing any negative emotion to him is that he has no negative programming about this. But you as a black man, I do like this for you. You know this means God punish you. You know this means Waka, your father. You know what it means. So if I do it to you, it will trigger negative emotions. The problem is not this thing. The problem is your programming. The same action with different people will get different results. So that person you say you don't like is based on what you have been programmed, what you have been watching, what you have been hearing. That tall, he must be tall, he must be rich. Many of you are mixing 10 different men together.
Try.
You want a man of God with a touch of Burna Boy. You see the problem?
Okay. Let me just quickly add to that. Two things that you need to consider. Number one is, are you also the kind of person that the person you are planning on that list will also like? That's something you need to think about as well. Then the second thing is, you need to be careful about all these things that you put in your head, because they can be blockers. The things I told God I didn't want. I didn't want to marry a pastor. I didn't want to marry an Igbo man. I didn't want a man that was fair in complexion. I didn't want a hairy man. And I'm very happy, because the most important thing, because those things they are not there must be non-negotiables, and then the ones that you're flexible with. In fact, at the time I wasn't really flexible with them, but when you start to, in the place of prayer, God starts to sieve your desires, and your desires start to align with God's will. So the most important thing for me was that the person should be my friend. I wanted a kingdom partner. I wanted someone I could talk to. So when I hear women say things like, how do I tell my husband? I'm not a monk. I tell him anything I want to tell him, how I want to tell him. If he vex, I go tell him sorry. Even idol, then they worship you, a human being, I go beg you. My point is that the things I wanted are here. Yes. Is he Igbo? Yes. Is he hairy? Yes. Is he fair? Not anymore.
I used to be fair.
Yeah. Is he a pastor? Yes. Well, the thing is that I'm also a pastor now. So that's those, so just be careful of those things. There should be non-negotiables, like character is in Christ. Some certain things is working, he can pay the bills, he's responsible. All those things.
Before I take the next person, Pastor Mildred has a way of saying some very powerful things in something you just mentioned now. You just said it in passing, that what you want to see, what you are putting on your list, how you want somebody to be like, are you like that also? I have seen people, one lady and her husband, they were talking to me many years ago in our former venue, they were having serious issues, and the guy was like, I want her to look like this, and I look at the guy talking, see how you look. Yeah. So one day the lady got angry and said, me too, I want 6-pack. And then the guy almost beat her, and then they came to see me one day. I said, you see, now you are beginning to understand what it means when you are putting someone else under pressure. She must lose weight. And I looked at this lady not waiting anyway. And I said, no, now that she is also saying that you too, you must have 6-pack. So it's 50-50. We should be careful what we write and what we say. In some cases, those who are asking for a tall person, you are short.
Yes.
Anyway, let's take. Yes.
Thanks for the word. So, sir, I want to ask, during the course of today's teaching, we got to know that marriage is all about forgiveness. But then, if we have a spouse that is, I don't want to use the word talkative now, that is gifted in speaking or loose with speaking, and you have a project, or maybe you want to travel abroad, and you didn't discuss it with anyone. But people are already approaching you and, complimenting you and say, where did this come from? And you got to know that it was your wife. Now, in this kind of a case, I understand that there's nothing prayer cannot do, but then you've tried all possible best. How do you handle such situation? How do you deal with it?
If you're already married, I don't think there's so much you can do about it, except try to help her manage information. If you are married, then you have to stay there. It is not a ground for divorce. Contrary to what people think, you can just stand up and be going. No. For better, for worse. We don't choose our worst. This is your worst. So you have to ask God for wisdom. The same way we tell women to pray when their husband is difficult. I'm also saying you may need to pray for God to give you wisdom. Secondly, manage the information that you give her. It's as simple as that. It's not everything that you say. If you don't want people to hear it, then manage the things you tell her. Thirdly, have this conversation with her. Maybe she's not aware. If you have this conversation with her, then she may be a bit more conscious before she lets things leave her mouth. I don't know if Pascal wants to add.
Yeah, and there's nobody that doesn't have a good side. So what's her good side? Cultivate her good side. If she has a penchant for talking, that means she's also a good preacher. She's a good evangelist.
A prayer warrior too.
Yes, she has something to do with talking. You need to channel it properly, positively. Right now it's being used negatively, but with mentoring, with maturity, with prayer, with love, she can start to use it positively. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. My question is, you mentioned earlier about how that women love to see men lead, and you also spoke a little about guys that are laid back. Someone like myself, I'm laid back, and I don't want to come off so strong or so opinionated, so I will tell you something, but in a subtle way. I'm not really going to come out so strong. What advice will you give for guys that are laid back and demonstrating leadership in the home? Thank you.
Okay, that's a fantastic question. I generally don't have a problem with laid back leaders. In fact, I think they make the best leaders. The problem I have is with lazy leaders. There's a difference between being laid back and being lazy. If you are laid back, it means that you are easygoing, you take things easy. It also means that you'll be very good at delegating. So you may not take the lead, but you may have the vision and let your wife run with it. You can tell her, but there's no question as to who is in charge. Now, with laziness is where I have a problem, where you don't want to get involved, you don't want quarrel, you don't want to talk, let her figure it out. That's where the problem is. So what you need to do is cast the vision. You may not be forefront, you may not be pushy, but there's a way you can lead someone without being domineering. Okay? So you can say what you want without it being like, this is my head. You can also, one of the things about leaders is that what you do is you cultivate everybody's strengths and use it. So you can ask her opinion on things. Pastor K, interestingly, is laid back. People don't know. He's very laid back. So what happens usually in our home is that if he wants to make a decision, first thing he'll do is ask me, what do you think? He was, a lot of times, if you notice this evening, if somebody has a question, he'll do answer. I'll say, no, you answer. So he always asks my opinion about things, and then he casts the vision and I run with it. I'm more of a hands-on kind of person. He's more of a, this is what we want to do. We want to buy this TV. I'm the one that will now start asking. Usually you would have probably attracted a woman who is into the details. She's more driven. So all she needs to do is understand how to respect you and allow you lead. She will know the right time to step back. But you must be very strong on casting vision and taking responsibility.
Are you married? Not yet.
I'm single.
Okay. So there's a high chance you might attract a stronger personality. So that's okay. She must just be able to
respect.
Yes.
The lady I'm actually dating right now is also laid back. She's also very chill. But I don't know, for us it works so well. So I'm trying not to overstep my boundaries and come off too strong. But I know what I want. You understand? Most times she gets on board with me. However, I needed your opinion.
So
but I don't think, sorry. Go on. Okay, so I don't think that leadership means you should be bossy, right? If both of you are laid back, what that means is that both of you are the kind of people that probably have conversations about things. That's literally how our home is.
That's good, yeah.
That's fantastic. So just be very firm and take responsibility.
Responsibility
is what I'm really talking about when I say leadership. So if there's something in the family, you know, you guys have conversations,
Yes.
be on top of things. That's all.
Because
you don't have to be loud.
when people are a bit like you, if they're not careful, they'll be so laid back that they won't be responsible. So when things are happening in the country, they'll just be tired. They'll fly to UK for checkup. They'll just be too laid back. So when why are you laughing? When things happen in the country, they don't respond. They don't speak. So if you're not careful, you can be too laid back. So make sure you always rise to the occasion. Right, next question. I don't know why people are laughing. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why people are laughing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My question goes like this. Okay, what advice do you give a woman who already knows what she wants out of life? She knows her temperament and she knows her love language. And knowing fully well that there are lots of people who pretend in this modern world, how does she go about it? She already knows her temperament, her love language, and what she wants in life. So choosing a spouse or a life partner, how does she go about it? And how does she detect the pretense out of the people, like the men she meets?
Okay, I'll just answer this in as simply as I can. If you're in a room and there are 5 black people, one says, Charlie, the pressure is getting worse. The other person say, how far now are you day? And you want to marry a Nigerian. Would you and you're a Nigerian, won't you know who a Nigerian is? If you're a good Christian, it doesn't take you long to know another good Christian. Deep calls to deep. You will recognize immediately. So don't worry too much about people that are pretending. If you're not a pretender, you will recognize a true Christian. And if you're a good person, trust me, our God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you will reap. He will send you a good man.
The modern syllabus.
What's the question?
Sorry, would they say it again? Modern syllabus. Oh, God
Okay.
bless you.
Good evening, sirs and sorry, this might come as a little controversial, but I was hesitant to ask. It's 2 questions, basically based on sexual purity. First, in marriage, you know about IVF and artificial insemination and all that, and the process it takes. You speak about masturbation in its sense, and I know in that practice, for the man to, donate his sperm, he has to go through that procedure most times. I'm questioning the practice. Is it ethical? Do you think it's okay for a Christian to go through that procedure, just in the case where they can't have children normally? Then the second question is, in the bedroom, sex is for 2 things, procreation and recreation. Is there a limit to how far one can go in the bedroom?
All right, you have to give me, for the second question, you have to tell me what you mean by limit. Okay?
No, it's not like I have a basis for it. I just asked a simple question. Is there how far one can go in the bedroom?
Okay. For the IVF one, first of all, interestingly, your spouse can be there when you are bringing out the seed. So it doesn't have to be purely masturbation. But even though, if you are doing IVF and you have to do that, I think it's like, it's not for pleasure. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's like when, how will I explain it? Some drugs that people take, there's cocaine in it, for instance. If you have a serious injury, serious bone, they will give you a tablet that has cocaine in it. It's very different from when you go out to the street and buy cocaine just to be high. It's the same way when the Bible said, thou shalt not kill. It's on the premise that they're not trying to kill you. If you are somewhere and somebody is entering your house to shoot all your family and you kill, thou shalt share testimony that you killed and you saved your family. Or the guys that go to war. If they are not killing, terrorists would have killed this whole country. If there are no soldiers that can kill. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So you need to always understand the basis and the foundation of everything. Okay, so that's on the first one. All right. The second one, you said there are limits in the bedroom. The challenge we have with Christians today is that they are bringing perversion from the world. Things they built and learned as sinners. And they want to use it to build a Christian home. So you are used to being hung on the fan when you were not born again. So now you enter marriage and you want your husband or wife to hang on the fan. So you are trying to quench an ungodly thirst in a godly marriage. So sex is a beautiful thing, as long as it's not bringing shame. What the act you want to do is not bringing shame, it's not bringing hurt, and it's not disobeying God in any way. You can do anything you want to do in your sex bed. I know that people that don't believe that you can do any other style. It's only missionary style. There's no such scripture. You are free to do anything you like on your sex bed, as long as it's not a health challenge, it's not bringing shame, or it's not disobeying God in any way, and both of you agree. It's not dehumanizing the other person, and both of you agree you should do it. You see, love comes above sex. But what the young people want to do is that sex for them comes above love. So I want to somersault, and your partner doesn't want. But if I don't somersault, I will be happy. No, it's not. Love makes me sacrifice. So when you are whole sexually, there's no pressure that I must do one particular thing. But when you are full of this thing and you won't find happiness in this life until you do this thing, then you are becoming a slave to those things. All right.
Toby is your wife here. God bless you.
I hope she cooks for me tonight, though.
Yeah. She's going to say, he said that he hopes she cooks for him tonight. She must fry you tonight.
But as married couples, you guys should discuss what you want. Some people ask things like, is oral sex okay in a marriage bed? For married couples, you're already in oral sex. If you're kissing yourself, oral sex is any sexual thing you do with your mouth. So if you are kissing, it's part of oral sex. If you are kissing your wife's neck, it's oral sex. As long as your mouth is part of the sexual activity, it's part of oral sex. So I don't think there's anything scripturally wrong with it. The Bible talks about your wife's breast satisfying you at all times. Be ravished. In fact, there's a popular story, and I won't share it. We'll talk about it on that time. But the point is that if it's oral sex kind of question, generally if the couple agree, it's fine. If it's now BDSM, you want to flog and chain and choke somebody, I think that's dehumanizing. You are beating somebody. Pastor, I counseled somebody that she has been married for about 6 years or so. She has a child, but she has never had sex. I call her the second Virgin Mary. She's a virgin, but she has a child, and she has never had sex with her husband, physical intercourse. How? Because when she's from a different, the one she married the man has not been able to have sex with her because the man practices BDSM and all that, and she cannot do that. So they can't have intercourse, but they use the IVF and co to have a child. So she's still a virgin because she married as a virgin. She's still a virgin even though she has a child. So wow. Sexual perversion is real. People don't know. It's crazy. That's why all these experiences you are gathering, it might be disadvantage to you because you will never be satisfied. You will never be satisfied. All right.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Let me welcome Pastor Abby. Come with your seat here as we take. And then can you can you help us move this because of the camera? Because we have just about 10 minutes and we go. Please just wait till we are. I just want to ask this very important question. Thank you. Usually, this is the aspect that we don't talk about very often, and I think we should look at it. Sam, I want to know your opinion when it comes to divorce. I will start this way and this is a very important issue. Are there cases, are there situations which you will recommend a divorce? Among Christians, I have seen where some get to a point where it is obvious in most cases there is somebody that is just not willing for the marriage to work. Usually, this is someone that will even defy pastors or the word, and unfortunately, most times we've seen men doing this, and not limited to men, even women at times. Somebody being totally unreasonable and making everything. At what point, and in this case, what should a Christian do? Are there situations where Christians can actually, that you will recommend that, look, from what I'm looking at, I will support, should you choose to move ahead?
Okay, very good question. Again, I did a video on this some months ago and it really trended. People were confused. Many Christians have never really studied the Bible. Jesus never said anywhere that people can never divorce. Interestingly, most of the time we're the one misquoting what he said. Now, as a standard, marriage wasn't designed to be broken. So that's what Jesus said. He made it clear that, look, from the beginning, it was not so. If you do it right, it's supposed to work right. But we are human beings, so we take something that is perfect. When human beings begin to handle it, It's like the gift of prophecy. It's a perfect gift. But when prophets start to handle it, if they are not really sanctified or they're not in tune with God, they can enter deceit. Everything God makes from his own end is perfect. Usually when it comes down to the hands of men, there begins to be issues. So God didn't design marriage for divorce. God hates divorce. I hate divorce. Even the divorced hate divorce. People that have divorced, they don't like it. They know the problem in it. So we hate divorce. However, there are cases where even scripture supports that you can divorce. So one of the cases, in the case of abuse, all right, I don't have all the scriptures here, but somewhere in Deuteronomy they mention how that, in fact, the whole thing that started the creation of divorce was abuse, where a man will marry somebody, will get tired of her, keep her aside, marry another person, and he's not taking care of any of her needs. He's not meeting her financial needs, not meeting her sexual needs, not meeting. And those days, as a woman, women didn't work. So if I was not meeting any of your needs, you are really in trouble. So God instituted divorce not for the wicked man. He instituted it for the woman being abused, saying, look, if you know you're not going to take care of this woman, release her to go and do something with her life. That's how divorce came about. It wasn't for the man to marry 13 people. It's that, okay, you are maltreating this woman, let's free her to go and do something with her life. So that's how they started divorce, Deuteronomy 22. So in the case of abuse, divorce is allowed. In the case of abandonment, divorce is allowed. So you hear things like, if the unbelieving wants to depart, let him depart. That's, you and somebody married, they carry their bag, disappear. You've not seen them for 3 years. They are already gone. Whether you say you are divorced or not, they have gone. So waiting there for eternity doesn't make sense. The Bible is clear about that. If you depart, you are free. The third area is adultery. Because sex is a covenant. Sex is the joining of a man and woman. When a man is a woman is cheating on his partner, the partner has a right. Now, all these things are that you have a right to divorce. It doesn't mean you have to divorce. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if your husband or wife is abusing you, it doesn't mean you have to divorce. You might need to separate to make sure the situation is controlled. If they have abandoned you, you can wait if you want. If they cheated on you, it doesn't mean you have to divorce. But it means you can actually divorce if that's what you want. But you don't have to. Jesus expects that you walk in love, you forgive, you work for healing, you find restoration. That's what he expects. However, these 3 A's I mentioned, abuse, abandonment, and adultery, are scriptural grounds that God gave for divorce. All right? They are scriptural grounds. It doesn't mean you have to take it. But the doors are scripturally open at those stages for people to divorce. And the biggest question people ask is that if somebody is divorced, can they remarry? Again, the answer is yes. In Matthew 19, Jesus answered the question. They asked him, can somebody divorce for any reason? He said, no, not for any reason. That we don't even want you to divorce at all. But what he said was, I was now quoting Deuteronomy 22, where they talked about divorce and remarriage. Okay? The scripture just was quoting. Divorce was mentioned and remarriage. In fact, the reason why they even started the divorce is so that that woman you are maltreating can go and remarry. I don't know if you understand. This is short. It's a long story, but I'm trying to keep it as short as I can.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if Pastor Mildred will say something to that. Okay, sir. But I will just add this to that, sir. If you're talking to young guys now, wanting to marry a woman who has just had a divorce, because now I said one thing one time in church, it is very easy for, which is the right thing to do anyway, for preachers to say to women going through a domestic violence that please don't stay there and die there. But then with someone with 3 kids, who is going to marry them? And we know the kind of society we are. Most fathers will not likely give their consent to the son coming home and saying that the wife I want to marry, she has had 3 children for one person. But there are women in the church who actually, to the best of their ability, they married well, but it didn't turn out well. Now they have kids, now they are on their own, and then it looks like no man wants to marry them. What can you say to that, sir?
All right. Don't let the children you have and things like that affect you. In our own church, many single moms have married. We've seen many single moms marry. Take care of yourself as a woman. Build your own finances, because pending when a man comes, you need to pay your bills. In fact, it's, like Pastor said, it's the reason why many women in abusive marriages can't live, because they can't take care of themselves. So as like my book, 7 questions, 7 things I want to tell women, I mentioned it that every woman should make her own money. In this world we live in, you are very unprotected. if you can't make money. So make your own money. All right? If you're a single mom, whether it's 3 children or 1 child you have, keep looking beautiful. Keep having fun. Build your life. Be attractive. Be attractive both physically, emotionally, and mentally. Physically, in terms of taking care of your body. Emotionally, make sure you're forgiving whoever offended you. Don't walk about with the hatred of the past and you are insulting everybody because you say men has come. Don't join those groups. All right? And also be attractive mentally. Develop yourself. What's your purpose? What's your passion? See, women of passion and purpose always look more attractive than women that are just waiting to look for a husband.
Yes, sir.
All right? So pursue your dreams, pursue your goals. There's something that will glow about you when you have found where you are going in life. And also be attractive spiritually too. Build yourself. I've seen people marry at even 60, at 70. So keep building yourself, take care of yourself, and learn from your mistakes of the past. You'll be fine.
Wow. Anything?
On this one? On the
any question or anything.
Okay, so thank you so much, Pastor Kingsley. Thank you, Pastor Mildred. People who know me in church know I'm very old school. I'm very old school when it comes to marriage and anything surrounding marriage. I'm very old school. I believe in submission. I believe in respect for the man as the head of the home. I believe in honor. And I tell ladies, you can't marry somebody that you cannot submit to. So I'm very, very old school. And it's something that we still talk about even in marriage counseling. And that is just what it is. And I was telling Director Dami Alabi yesterday when we had a ride, we were just talking generally. And I was telling her that by the time I was going to say, yes, I was going to marry Pastor, but I was not in love with him. We were just talking yesterday evening. And I saw that look on her face. I thought I wasn't in love with him. But one thing I was sure of what God wanted me to do. I was sure that I was being sent to help. I was very clear on that. And I was telling her that love grew as we journeyed into the wedding day. And that I was just said, but one thing was sure, by the time I was going to stand in church to say, yes, I do. Yes, I could absolutely say that I was in love
I'm
with
hearing that for the first time. But then she said yes immediately.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
I was telling her, I said yes because in retrospect, I was telling her yesterday that if I had gone home to think about it, the answer would have been a no, because all the fears, all the thoughts, all the why it wouldn't work will just come flooding in. And then all the things that people were, plenty naysayers. How you're going to marry somebody who didn't even have a passport, how you're going to marry somebody whose church is not even up to 20. All of those things were going to just come flooding in. And so, yes, I did say yes in the media because I knew what God wanted me to do. So, it's just the same thing that I would say to ladies, even to men. Understand and know what God wants you to do. And be sure of that. So, if you've not been hearing God before, and then you think that God is speaking to you about a particular... We only had 3 conversations, if you remember. 3 conversations before he asked me to marry him. 3 conversations. So it wasn't like we've known for years and we were married 9 months after. So Tuesday is our wedding anniversary. So it's just... So don't remove the ancient landmark. Like Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred had said, and like Pastor has been teaching over and over and over again. The old school way, to me, is still the best way. Thank you.
For my closing word, one of the things I'm eternally grateful for, from when I was in University of Ibadan till I got married, I never had any taste or anything written down. I never said to myself, fair lady or dark lady, tall or short sleeve. I just didn't have any of those things. I just said to myself that when I see a woman that loves God, I will know. And when I see a partner in the person, I will know. So maybe one of the things, maybe God helped me in such a way that I just don't have any preconceived, no picture, no fantasy, no nothing, no nothing. Now, coming to children also, the same thing. Somebody asked me, do you want to have a boy, first a girl, boy, boy? I said, anyone, girl, I have a girl and a boy. God just made it so, but I never really said, Lord, a boy, a girl, a boy. And somebody told me recently of the family disturbing her, that now you are pregnant again, it's going to be a girl. Now you say, what bothers me? I've heard that many times. And the one that grieves me most is when the man is one telling the wife that I want a boy this time around. Are you not the one putting the stuff inside? You know, it's amazing.
Yes.
That the woman is just to help you,
yes,
grow and give back to what you. The seed is from you. So if you want a boy and all you are having is a girl, you are the problem.
You are the problem.
But then you are blaming the woman and you are joining the family to say that we want a girl, want a boy. It's funny. But thank God.
Yes. And I want to add that did you guys notice what we're sharing today, how it played out in their meeting? Because there were not too many things. If she had a spec and the spec was too serious and he too had a spec, you see, these people probably not be married. That's what's delaying young people. Somebody's coming and say, but he's not my spec. All those spec is affecting you emotionally, you don't know it. You say, I'm not feeling this guy. Because your mind is full of one social media boy you're in love with. You need to divorce that one and marry a real one you are seeing in your front.
Hallelujah. Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. What a beautiful night. Let's let Pastor and Pastor Mrs. go. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Have you had a wonderful time tonight? Let's say a big